Okay, this is a video on the used oil burner, and I want to go through the process with you guys pretty well and show you kind of how to make these. These are really easy to make. It takes me about, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours to make these, and like $125 at the most. Actually, no, $25. I could buy a hot water heater with a booster fan on it, and for like 35. And then, yeah, I guess I probably got maybe 1 1/4 in it, maybe a little less. I don't know. By the time you buy the valves and everything else, just depends upon what you use for scrap. But let me start off by saying that most of these oil burners that are on YouTube, I kind of wonder how you can clean them, because they end up with debris down here that, as the oil burns, it leaves crud, and you got to empty the crud out, or your burner won't work. So I've made them to where they're real easy to do that. So I just take my bowl out right here, my burn bowl, and make the door just big enough for that to get in there. And you can see the crud that's in there that you have to get out. So I basically beat it on the concrete, and then it empties all out. And right now what I've got here is I've got two bowls just to get the height that I want. I added 2 bowls together, but if you have one all the way high, that's fine too. I use Freon tanks, and so I just happen to have 2 of them. I put them together, but you probably could take a Freon tank and just cut the top off up here, and it'd probably be high enough. Doesn't matter how low the bowl is, it'll still burn good. Okay, so now I'm just going to put it back in there. Let me show you before I do that. So I've got spacers in here that you can use, just anything you want to get in there to raise that bowl up. And so let me show you here. You got some lines down here. So this up here is where the bowl height is. So you can see it's about 3 inches above the door. And then my burn tube comes in the back and turns on a 90 and comes down, and it's about right there. So it's actually down in the bowl a little bit. But this air can just blow straight down. So just as long as it's in the bowl a little bit, it's fine. But your main thing is you want your burn bowl at least 3 inches above this door opening. Otherwise the smoke will come out. So that's, I've done about 6 of these, built about 6 of them. I give a couple of them away, and turn that back that way, and they work really well. So what is that? Put that in the wrong way. Okay. Now, so we got that, no big deal. I just had that spacer the wrong way. Okay, so to light this thing, I've made a fitting right here, a 3/4 fitting that allows me to slide this in, which is pretty much just a way to get some starter fuel in, which I've got a little bit of gas here. I keep in a small container. And I don't know, I put probably maybe half a cup in there, and then that goes right into the burn bowl. Okay. Take that out. And we'll go ahead and start throwing some oil to it just a little bit. I'll show you that kind of how that works here in a little bit. But I want to go over the lighting process first. And then I use this same hole to light it. So I actually had this lit and just turned it out. So it's probably got, that gas is pretty warm, so it's not gonna take much to fire this up. But I go in here like that, and so now I've just got a little bit of gasoline in there to heat that oil up for just a couple seconds. Actually, wouldn't even take long. I could probably turn the air to it right now because this is a turbo. It's got air that blows through the turbo tube into the burn bowl, and that's what processes the oil really good. So this is just a tank. You could use a square tank, you could use a round tank, I've made them out of several different things. I made one out of a old video return box. But I'll go over. So basically you have to have a tank to burn in. Then you got to have a tank behind it to store your oil to drip in. All right, so now I'm going to go turn my fan on, which right now I've got my gate valve off going to my turbo fan. And so nothing's going to happen, but I'm going to go turn that on and then I'll show you. All right, so I've got my turbo fan on now, and the gate valve that I've got on, which is 2-inch, I'm going to open up. Right now it's closed, and so just kind of watch the fire and watch what happens. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but you hear the turbo effect. Okay, so I've got just a little bit of oil going in this thing, which probably 5 gallons would run for 8 hours. So that, you can see, will start to get pretty warm. And that's about all I need right there for this 2,000 square foot shop. May have to even throttle down a little bit, but I can actually put more oil in there as well, and this whole pot will get red, but I don't really need to do that. So I'm just going to give this a minute and you can kind of see what's happening here. So it's burning good. You don't see any exhaust coming off the front. And I guess you could use a shorter barrel if you want. The main thing is that this burn bowl is above your door. And then up here, just a 6-inch galvanized stack. I've got a 7x6 sitting on a short piece of 6-inch I weld on top. And it's not sealed over here, but I never get any exhaust. And then it just goes up to a stack, and then I've got a riser that goes up. I mean, I could shoot this with a gun and you'd see it's like 600 degrees. I mean, it's nuts. So when I turn the booster fan on, I also turn on a fan behind it to blow the heat off the unit and into the garage. Otherwise, this area gets just so hot and it'll start melting plastic everywhere. So I don't know if you can hear it, but let me get over here. So yeah, that's what it looks like. So it's pretty intense. I mean, and the oil burns clean. I've got very little smoke coming out of the smokestack. So it's really just, I mean, you want to make your hole right here like maybe 1/2 inch bigger than your bowl. It slides in. You don't need to make it any bigger. As far as this way, it doesn't really matter. You can make it, you know, a little wider that way. It doesn't really affect anything. So yeah, it's getting pretty hot to where I can't, probably not gonna be able to stand next to it very long. So you come over here, and let me turn some lights on. So here, you kind of see what's going on with, there's your turbo fan, your 2-inch gate valve, which the reason why I got the gate valve on there is so when I want to shut this down, I close my gate valve and hot air doesn't come back to my fan and exhaust out the motor winding, so that way I can just turn it off and just kind of walk away from it. But here's your oil feed going in. Let me go down a little bit. See how much oil's going in there? And then over here, just to get a back view, is tanks and everything. Let me get out of the way here. So that's just a barbecue propane tank that I cut the top of it out right in here to pour the oil in. And then I've got a drip tube where my oil comes down. And then I also have a drain on the bottom here. Let me see. No, let me go down a little bit. So I have a drain on the bottom right here that if there's any water in my oil, I can drain the water out because it's a water separator. So oil, water goes to the top. So it's pretty simple. Here's my turbo pipe going into my tank. And so it's real simple. You got some 1/4-inch valves over here to regulate your oil. My oil feed is I've got actually on a trap, so the pressure of the blower doesn't blow back my oil up out of the drip feed area. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm just going to let that show you how good that heats right there for a little bit. And then I'll shut the video off. If you want to, stop, you can stop, whatever. I'm going to leave that run for just a couple more minutes. You can kind of get the idea of what's going on. So if you got any questions, just text me and I'll answer your questions. But I think it's probably the most simple design and most efficient one on YouTube right now. So give me some likes, try to share my video if you can, and help me get a bunch of views. 5 gallons of oil. I meant 5 quarts of oil.